Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. In those crazy stories, I've heard about people getting grabbed and poked for attention, but getting hit by lettuce is definitely a first. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. I was just chilling in a parking lot until I hit an iceberg. Some minor background. I live in Quebec, a land of two dominant languages, French and English. I myself am English, but know enough French to have a polite, albeit slow, conversation. On a side note, the friend I'll be mentioning shortly is perfectly bilingual. Yesterday, I decided to do a grocery run on my way home from work. Since I use public transit, I tend to take a taxi home when I do groceries and invite my friend along for the ride since she lives nearby. I get to the grocery store and my friend's nowhere to be seen, so I grab a card and wait near the entrance where I certainly will be seen. I pop in my earbuds, start blasting some dance music, and have a little one-person dance party as I wait for my friend to show up. As I'm jamming out, I notice that every other person leaving the grocery store is leaving their carts near me instead of putting them away, so I start moving a few feet away every time I start to get surrounded. Normally, I'd take the time to put them away and do my good deed for the day, but my friend should be showing up any minute, so I just leave it for the actual people who are working there. After a few more attempts to box me in are made, I hear an older woman shouting at me. In her defense, she may have been talking to me for a minute or two, but as I said, one-person dance party over here. I pop out an earbud and realize the lady's yelling at me in heavily accented French. I do a quick double check to make sure I'm not doing anything illegal and assume she's blaming me for the carts that are strung around. Having just finished a long day of work and not wanting to put in the effort to find out, I simply tell her, "Sorry, I don't understand," in a heavy English accent before popping back in my earbud and continuing my dance party. Everything's going fine until something heavy and soft smacks me in the back of the head. The same lady had swung her bag of groceries containing an iceberg lettuce, among other things, and had split the bag open, scattering the contents all over the ground, and also knocking both earbuds out. She now has my full attention, and I listen to her complain about how lazy I am and telling me to pick up her groceries. Getting hit by a head of lettuce sounds painful, but it's closer to being hit by a particularly heavy pillow, so I'm not in pain or anything. But the audacity of this one to accost me and then order me around, even if I had worked there, has me livid. I respond in the following censored manner. "What the heck, lady? You freaking hit me and try to order me around? What is your gosh darn problem, you crazy witch?" I then switch over to French and share my favorite French insults just in case she isn't getting the point. The lady immediately begins mumbling, "Désolé, désolé, désolé, sorry, sorry, sorry," as she backed up to her car. My friend shows up shortly after that and we do our groceries as usual, just with a lot more laughter, and her assuring me that she'll show up on time tonight. Edit. Just in case it wasn't clear, she believed I was one of the young guys who typically rounds up the carts and was ignoring his work to play on his phone. And our second story. Got my whole department under review, or even fired. I'm working a white-collar job as a side gig next to school, and we basically boss around a lot of temp college guys in production because of how labor-intense it is. Even on the best of days, our production site is an oven, and with recent summers, it became a necessity to grant more breaks for employees to cool down, drink up, and loosen some guidelines. However, there's a group of 3 young professionals that shows major double standards in their oversight. Our good-looking temps were treated as expected, and the terror squad was constantly concerned about their well-being. But you wouldn't notice any of that with anyone else. Any breaks they took were questioned, just like their attitude, etc., and they'd be written up all the time for nothing. Any temp calling it out was immediately shot down with BS about authority, accusations of sexism, sometimes even accusations of sexual harassment. They'd also fawn over the eye candy and have a good laugh whenever they managed to make someone quit. Since I always helped with documenting the inspections, I didn't know where they were coming from and thought maybe there's some background I wasn't aware of. But noticed that even temps hired after me were bullied out of the job and decided to do something about it. Basically, for the last half year, I've been collecting all those write-ups, resignations, CVs, and records of temps, personal documentation, and even some voice recordings of their harassment and office gossip. I had enough and decided to bring it up at our monthly department meeting. The terror squad went off on me, calling me every name and hinting about me sexually harassing them, and I'd have crapped my pants right then if it wasn't for my BF and browser history vouching for my disinterest in their gender. As you might expect, my next week was quite eventful. Apparently, boss told the terror clique they should start looking for new employment, but he also pulled me into the office and told me that my work was also under scrutiny, in the light of recent accusations. I politely told him it wasn't the professionalism I expected and went straight to HR. Basically, I spend all my time in HR meetings since. They got all the evidence and interviewed everyone they could get their hands on. My boss and the terror clique were basically standing in front of an execution squad. They're all out of jobs and the whole department is under review now. But apart from the temps, everyone's giving me crap for it. They say how I got 3 young professionals and a good boss fired and didn't understand subtle sexism. Yes, the department skews young and woke. In my opinion, they just say because it landed everyone in hot water. But I had some people kind of seeing their point about how it wasn't up to me if the coworkers felt harassed or not. Fair point in general. But see above, I didn't catch any of it, only their major F-ups. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. When people turn the work environment into their own little frat party without end or consequences, it's long past time they're fired. And our next story. Extra cheese? You got it. I work at a fairly popular buffet-style pizza place where you can request any order with any toppings and we'll put it on the line. This means I, as the cook, am very used to getting strange/gross/annoying pizza requests. This was different, though. We have multiple specialty sauces that we can use for the pizzas, including an Alfredo one. Now, for those of you who don't know, cheese sauce plus normal cheese plus oven equals soup. I was always told to be very careful with how much cheese I add to an Alfredo pizza because even a little too much can make it basically inedible. This particular day, I had a customer come in requesting an Alfredo pizza with extra cheese. No problem. I add more than normal, but still not enough to make it soupy, and throw it in the oven. It goes up on the line, and without even taking a slice, the customer tells me there isn't enough cheese. I try explaining that adding any more would make it soggy so you can't even lift a slice, but they were having none of it and very angrily demanded I make them a new one. And do it right this time. I don't have all day. It's pizza, bro. Chill. We were fairly slow at this point. I'd done all the to-go orders I needed to complete, so cue malicious compliance. I told our server that there would be a special pizza coming out and I wanted to deliver it myself. She's confused, but basically just says, do what you want. I go to my station, put on the sauce, and absolutely destroy the thing with cheese. It looked like a snowy mountain peak, beautiful, terrifying, and probably very detrimental to our food sales cost. Oh well. The pizza comes out and it's more liquid than solid, but I managed to cut and plate it with minimal losses. I bring the entire tray to his table and set it down, a huge smile on my face. Mr. Huffy still looks angry and exclaims the usual, "Finally," and I walk behind the counter to watch. It was even better than I'd hoped. As soon as he picked up the slice, one-handed, a rookie mistake, an avalanche of hot cheese sauce spilled down the front of his shirt, making it look like multiple angry babies attacked him with vomit. He starts yelling and manages to smack his hand down on the tray, flipping it and further covering himself in chunky hot nastiness. My server and I are laughing so hard we need to go into the walk-in so other customers won't hear us. He never came in again. And yes, I cleaned the table afterwards. Our janitor was a sweet old man, and it wouldn't have been fair to leave it for him. Huge upvote for cleaning it up yourself. Super classy ending. I like it. And our last story. Told my neighbor to stop using my driveway. For some context, we live in a city where some houses share driveways and most houses are 2 families, apartment upstairs and apartment downstairs. We own a 2-family house and there's another one next door where their front door for the upstairs apartment is next to our driveway. But they do have their own driveway. We've owned the house for 2 years now, but my husband has lived here his whole life. He says they've been using our driveway to park for a few minutes or to unload their groceries or have their users park in the driveway and have their food delivery drivers park in the driveway for years, and it's always annoyed him, but he didn't own the house then, so he never said anything. Now that he does, we've asked them on multiple occasions to stop using our driveway, To a point, we started putting a cone at the end of our driveway. Here's where the problem started. About 2 weeks ago, I'm making the bed and look over to the TV to see that there's someone parked in our driveway and our cone is moved to in front of our car. We park in the back of the driveway. It's the length of the house. So I go out there and see the car is turned off and there's no one around. I go up to their front door and shout up their stairs and tell them to move their car and they have to stop using my driveway and that I've told them multiple times. They have their own driveway, use it, and to stop using ours. They started yelling that it was just for a few minutes, blah, blah, blah. I told them, I don't care, it's not your property, and to stop doing it. Now, a few days ago, my husband wasn't home and the cone was at the end of the driveway. I walk over to the window and see they've moved the cone again and parked in our driveway to drop stuff off. I went out there and said, hey, stop using our effing driveway. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but don't do it again, and I'll contact your landlord and have your car towed. They started yelling at me that, who cares, it's just a driveway. I told them when they start paying my property taxes, they can use it. And when they own their own house, they'll understand why it's so annoying to have people doing this. They moved their car while screaming out the window how miserable I am, and I just kept saying thank you and walked inside. But because I wouldn't let them continue yelling and kept saying thank you, they got out of their car and started to walk up to my house to fight me, and I just continued to walk inside. So I towed them a few times, just for fun, and put up a locked gate. Good fences make good neighbors. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.